Okay, good morning, Hazelton. I'm a Helu from the 403 to the HAZ to the HAZ. Pretty cool, right? I'm Mr. Nelson, and I am here to keep talking about unit conversion. In the previous video, I just kind of jumped right into the metric system, why it's useful to us, blah, blah, blah. It's based on tens, it's international, it's called the metric SI system. But our friends south of the border, being the stubborn people they are, I love Americans. I love Americans. Legit, I actually love Americans. Great people. Imperial, Metric, SI. So south of the border, they got on the Imperial system. I don't know why they got onto it, but that's just what they use. So the Imperial system uses things like a foot, inches, miles. When they're dealing with volume, they're dealing with gallons, ounces, and even barrels. So I think one of the reasons that the Imperial system has stuck around as long as it is because of the oil and gas industry. Because in the United States, a juggernaut in oil and gas, they've always sold and measured their oil in barrels, in a literal volume called a barrel. A barrel is like this, right? So they've been measuring oil in barrel as a volume, and because of that, the rest of the world has to measure oil in barrels, and that kind of keeps the metric system around. Now, here in Canada, we use things like, instead of a foot, we'll use a meter, really. Inches, we'll use centimeters. Miles, we use kilometers. Gallons, we use liters. Ounces, we use milliliters. Barrels, we use meters cubed. Okay, so we use a meter cubed now. We call it a cube. Yeah, and so any other imperial units that we might use are a yard. A yard's an important one. So a yard is kind of like well, we use it in golf, and that would kind of equate to a meter. They also use like a pint or a quarter gallon, I think that stands for. I don't know, I've never actually measured in a quart, so I don't know. But that's probably, and then we also have lbs, pounds per weight. While they use pounds, we like to use kilograms, kilograms. So, imperial to metric. Now, in the last video, we were just kind of bouncing in between metric units, between kilo, deca, deci, centa, milli, right? And all those prefixes kind of are hints as to what we're doing. Imperial, the relationships are not as clean, not by a long shot. Even jumping in between feet to inches or feet to miles or yards to miles, the relationships are not nice, clean, whole numbers. But that's not a big deal if we just follow a system for converting units. So I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to write a few relationships up here that we know, that are kind of universal, that we roll with. So we know that 1 foot, 3 feet, 3 feet is equal to a yard. We know that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. We know that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. We know that, and then when we're, 1 minute. Hello, Mr. Decayus. Good, not too bad, how are you? Couple days? If that's what you need, I can do that, yeah. Okay, bye. We'll Okay, I guess I am the vice principal for today. Let me finish my video first. Okay, so this is jumping in between within Imperial, but we can also do conversions between Imperial and Metric. So I know that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. I know that 1 yard is almost a meter. It's 0.914 meters, 0.914 meters. Okay, so let's just roll with these for now, because once we know how to work with these, once we figure out the system, it doesn't matter what relationship we have, we can just roll with it. So if I were to ask you how many, so let's just work with it here first. If I have 45 feet, how many inches do I have? Okay, I like to set it up like this, because once you get into higher level math and you're doing a lot of converting from feet to say some other unit where you require multiple steps, setting it up like this just helps with the count. So in this case, the first step is, okay, I know that I'm jumping between feet and inches. Do I have a relationship that relates feet directly to inches? Well, I do right here. 12 inches is 1 foot. That's great. So in this case, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this now into a multiplication. And I'm trying to get rid of feet and end with inches. So I want inches on the top because I want to end with that. And feet are going to go on the bottom so that I can cancel them out. So now, this is set up like a ratio. And the ratio, all I have to do is match the number beside the right sign. So I know that I'm going to have 1 beside the foot, 12 beside the inches. And then I can cancel feet, and this is the operation I have to do to get it. So all I'm going to do is 45 times 12 divided by 1, and that gives me some answer of 540. Okay, 540 inches. Straightforward. Now what if I was going the other way? So what if I had 96 feet, and I want to know how many yards that is? Okay, well again, first thing I'm going to do is, do I have any relationships that relate feet to yards? And I go here, 3 feet is 1 yard, perfect. I can go directly and do this. So the first thing I do is I'm going to turn this into a multiplication. I'm going to put feet on the bottom so it cancels out and I'm just with the yards, the unit I'm looking for. And I am going to match the right number with the right unit. So 3 goes beside the feet, 1 goes beside the yard. This is my ratio. Now it's going to be 96 times 1 divided by 3. And I'm going to cancel the feet because 1 on top, 1 on the bottom. 96 feet times 1 divided by 3. 96 times 1 divided by 3 in yards. Okay, and then 96 divided by 3, which makes sense, right? If I have 3 feet for every 1 yard, I should expect that I should have less yards. And that's something I need to be doing when I'm doing these problems, is does my answer make sense? This is something we should always be doing. It's logic. Make sure that your answer makes sense, and it's what you're expecting. So in this case, I get 32 yards, okay? So let's do a couple more examples now where I'm bouncing in between these two. So what if I say I have 37 inches, how many centimeters is that? Okay, so again, I ask, do I have a relationship that relates inches to centimeters? And here I do. Okay, buddy, I'm just making a video. Okay, and I have 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So first off, I know that I'm going to want to get rid of inches, so I'm going to put it down here so it's going to cancel, and that's going to leave me with centimeters. I'm on the right track. Now I'm going to look for my relationship. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. I'm going to put the right number beside the right unit. 2.54 goes beside centimeters. 1 goes beside inch, allowing me to cancel top and bottom, and then I get 37 times 2.54 divided by 1 centimeters. Okay. And that gives me 37 times 2.54, gives me 93.98. 93.98 centimeters, which I can round to 94 centimeters. Close enough. Okay? Now what would happen if I asked you, okay, you have 35 meters, and I want to know how many feet that's equal to. Now I look at my relationships, I'm like, oh shoot, I need something that relates feet to meters, and I can't find it. I have yards to meters, but I don't have feet to meters. What I can now, if I'm smart, what I realize is, okay, well if I convert meters first to yards, because I have a relationship between meters and yards, then do I have a relationship that could relate yards to feet? Yes, right here. So this is going to be 2 steps, and I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing it. The first way is just kind of doing it stepwise. So the first thing I'm going to do is, okay, I want to convert meters, not to feet now, I'm going to go to yards first. So yards is on top, because that's what I want to end with, and meters is going to go down here. I'm going to replace this with a multiplication, and I'm going to put the right unit beside the right right number beside the right unit. So here we go, 914, the meters will cancel out, and I can go 35 times 1 divided by 0.914 yards. And I do the math, 35 divided by 0.914 is 38.3. 38.3 yards, okay? Now, I'm going to start with 38.3 yards, and I'm trying to get to feet, right? So 38 yards is equal to how many feet now? Well, luckily, like I knew, there's yards and feet. So now I can relate yards to feet. I'm going to put yards on the bottom because that's what I'm trying to get rid of. And I'm going to replace this with a multiplication, and I'm going to put the right number beside the right unit. So 3 feet for every 1 yard. Yards will cancel, one on top, one on the bottom, and I get 38.3 times 3 over 1 feet. And if I do the math there, I get 38.3 times 3 is 114.9 feet. 114.9 feet. And that's all there is really to unit conversion, okay? If you just set it up like this every time, you're fine. Now, once you kind of get to higher level math and you start doing, engineering stuff, there's going to be a lot more complex conversions. I mean, not complex, but just involved. And so the way that we set it up as engineers, because we're efficient, and we like to be efficient, is we actually set it up as one long equation because we have a handle on what's going on here, and hopefully that will come. So I have 35 meters. And I'm trying to get from meters to feet. So I'm going to go 35 times meters to yards. Well, I know that 1 yard for every 0.914 meters. Now, every time I'm doing this, I'm trying to cancel 1 unit to be left with the next unit in line. So I do that. This is going to cancel. And then I can do another multiplication where I know that there's 3 feet for every 1 yard. And again, I'm trying to get rid of the yards. Now they cancel, and now I am left with the unit I want to end with on top, which is feet. So I can go 35 times 3 divided by 0.914, if I do this multiplication, times 3, and that should give me the same answer I just got, 114.9 feet. So this is just a more efficient method. Okay, that is unit conversion, and it's just something that we need to practice. So let's do one last one where I have 15 feet and I want to know how many centimeters that's equal to. Okay? So the first thing I do is, okay, feet to centimeters. I don't have anything that relates feet to centimeters. All I have is feet to yards or feet to inches. However, if I was to get to inches, then I could convert inches to centimeters. So this is going to be 2 steps. And I'm going to do it both ways. So first thing I do is, okay, I'm going to go from, I'm not going to go directly to centimeters just yet. I'm going to go to inches. And I'm getting rid of feet. So inches to feet, I know I have 12 inches for every foot. And I'm going to multiply. So 15 times 12 gives me 180. And feet cancel, 180 inches. Okay, now I'm going to go from inches to centimeters. So I have 180 inches, and I want to go to
Ms. Jackson, can you give me a call at 3134? Ms. Jackson, give me a call at 3134.
180, okay, and so I have inches on the bottom because I'm trying to cancel, get rid of inches, and be left with centimeters, which is on the top. So now I'm going to turn this into a multiplication, and I'm going to match the right unit number with the right unit in this ratio. So I'm going to have 2.54 beside centimeters and 1 beside inches. Inches will cancel, and I do 180 times 2.54. The math is telling me it wants to multiply, so I multiply. And I get 457.2 centimeters. Okay? This is not that bad, but if I want to do it in one line, 15 feet to centimeters. This is the next level. When you really have a handle on it, you can just start doing it like this. So I have 15 feet. I'm going to go, okay, 15 feet. I don't have anything that relates feet to centimeters just yet, so I'm going to go to inches. So I go times, now inches is going to be on the top, times 12 inches for every 1 foot. And I need to be able to cancel the top and bottom. I need just to be left with 1 unit. Now, to go from inches to centimeters, I know that I want to wind up with centimeters on top. So I'm going to put inches on the bottom to cancel them. And I'm going to put 2.54 centimeters for every 1 inch. The inches will cancel now, and I'm just left with centimeters as my unit. 15 times 12 times 2.54 gives me 457.2 centimeters. And that is unit conversion. I am being pulled in very many directions, so I'm going to take off. Hope that helped.